Hi and welcome to Beyond Checks, the channel about professional software testing for the 21st century. In this video I will explain how you can prioritize which part of your test automation coverage to work on first, why it matters, and how you can achieve a good level of prioritization quickly. When you are automating your checks, there are quite a lot of scenarios where you might end up with a backlog of coverage you would like to automate. This is especially common when you are starting out and have a system that you have been testing manually so far. But even when you are on top of things, some kinds of tests, like GUI tests using WebDriver, can only be created after changes have been developed. In those cases, you will probably ask yourself, where do I start? As with any other task, you will want to make sure that you prioritize the right things, even if you are planning to do it anyways. Why? Because complete coverage is impossible. Prioritizing correctly means that these trade-offs are going the right way. It means that if you have to stop at any point, you can be confident that up to this point you have done the best you could. That means having spent your time on the items that add the most value. So your prioritization will be answering the question, what is most valuable to us? A basic cost-benefit analysis lets you do just that. The main cost involved will be the creation and maintenance of automation tests to meet a coverage goal. And it is really important that you consider the maintenance of automation tests, as these are the ongoing costs that you will incur repeatedly and can mount up very quickly. There are other costs that could be relevant, like the cost of running tests on cloud providers. To understand the benefit, on the other hand, you have to consider how this task is going to add value. And where is that value coming from? Well, ultimately, when we are talking about value, we are talking about something that contributes positively to the profitability of the organization. And that means either something that helps us earn money or something that helps us reduce costs. One place to derive this value from is the value of the feature you're adding. To get an understanding of this, we might explore these questions. How much money will this earn us? How much money is it saving us? Is it a basic requirement for our customers without which we can't sell our product? Is it a regulatory requirement? A legal requirement? Once you have explored these questions, you will probably have a better understanding of the risks involved. From those risks, you can derive the value of the coverage that mitigates them. Another way automation might add value is when you would have to provide this coverage manually anyways. It might already have been decided that this coverage is needed, and in this case the value comes from not having to do it manually. So this is an area where automation helps us save money by reducing the costs. However you choose to estimate the value, it should be the same across all the tasks you are prioritizing, making the estimates comparable. An important point is to estimate in numbers. In order for this method of prioritization to work, your estimations have to be represented numerically, as we're going to do some calculations and draw a chart. They also have to be comparable. You shouldn't compare an estimate of monetary value to an estimate of effort. A very popular way for estimating effort in the agile world is planning poker. But even a simple scale from 1 to 10 will work. Personally, I prefer to use t-shirt sizes, as it makes it obvious that the actual numbers are arbitrary and that the results of our calculations should be taken with a pinch of salt. The method is common in agile teams and works by equating the effort involved in a task with a t-shirt size. T-shirt sizes range from XS to XXL. The benefit of this is that people won't automatically convert their effort into time. To make your estimation numerical again, you can simply assign values to the different sizes. The scientific basis for the approach I'm suggesting is formed by an academic paper published by the World Academy of Science, Engineering and Technology. The paper, written by Peter Sabev and Katalina Grigorova, describes a simple yet efficient approach for prioritization of test cases. The centerpiece of the paper is the calculation of an efficiency quotient based on the effort needed for both manual execution and software test automation. The approach suggests that a task with a higher quotient should be prioritized over ones with a lower quotient. For tasks with the same quotient, the ones with a lower automation effort should be prioritized. The approach has been validated by the researchers in a number of industry projects across different domains. I have adapted the approach suggested in the paper by combining it with Eisenhower's decision matrix, which was first popularized by Stephen Covey's book First Things First. The original technique ranks urgency and importance and groups tasks into 4 quadrants, to which different approaches are applied. My adaptation replaces the 2-axis with automation effort, and the cost of not automating the task. In this case I have chosen manual testing effort, as it is probably the most common alternative scenario. It also works well in comparison, as shown by the research mentioned earlier. The other modification is a diagonal line which represents a 1-to-1 efficiency quotient. A distance from this line expresses the cost-benefit valuation we are using to prioritize the tasks we place into the matrix. The quotient itself is a perfectly suitable method of prioritization and can be used without the matrix, but we shouldn't forget that this is based on rough estimates. That means the matrix gives us some benefits over a straight calculation. By splitting the matrix into sections which we prioritize one after another, we gain the ability to quickly and easily place where a new task will sit in our prioritized backlog. And then we work our way through the sections going from 1 to 6. The last section represents an area where the figures probably don't stack up. Here you should consider if there are other ways to provide the coverage where the cost-benefit stacks up better. And this is how you can prioritize your test automation. Sometimes you're on the move or in a meeting and you find something that you think should go onto the backlog. You will probably make a note that will look something like this. What is quite useful is to do a rough estimation and prioritization then and there, as it gives you an idea of when you need to act. It's easy to capture the result of this estimation in a simplified form of the matrix next to the note. This gives you a good idea of whether the task might be near the top of the list and you might have to act. Let's recap. Begin by understanding where the value of your automated tests will be coming from. Make sure that you express your coverage goals in a way that can be related to this value. Estimate the cost or effort of automating each coverage goal. Also estimate the cost or effort involved in not automating the coverage. Make sure these estimates are comparable and expressed in a numerical format. Draw your priority matrix and prioritize your test coverage. Don't forget to investigate alternative solutions for the items with low efficiency quotients, as these are likely to sap your resources otherwise. I hope you have liked this video about prioritizing automation coverage. If you have any feedback, please use the comment section below, especially if you know other peer-reviewed research on the topic. And if you would like to stay up to date with my awesome new content, why not subscribe to my channel now? See you soon at Beyond Checks.